Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm Cal. This is Working with Resonance. We're doing a tarot reading. The tarot reading is in regards to the Mercury Venus conjunction. It's all completed, that exact conjunction. But the activations, the energies coming through will continue to play out for some time. So I think the last tarot reading I did was perhaps end of August, beginning of September last year. So I'm going to take a little bit of time just to connect with the cards as I give you a little bit of insight on the factors influencing, impacting the readings since September. If you want to jump straight to the tarot reading, the link or the timestamps will be in the comments. I think it could be in the description box. Maybe check both. Tarot's changed somewhat for me. Part of my downtime has been spending quite a bit of time with my guides, relearning, not relearning, just fine tuning. Frequencies are changing. That means the translations are changing. Which has been interesting trying to learn that without actually interacting with the collective energies themselves. So that's been part of it. The biggest part of it at the surface level, obviously, there is a whole heap of frequencies, activations that have come through that have been manifesting at the surface level. So at the surface level, the main influence aspect, got the right word, has been health. So, yeah, health. Interesting that they brought the strength card out for that. Health. It has taken some courage. It has, through the ups and downs and the roller coaster of the health ride, challenged my vulnerability or my assertion of will and causing me to be more vulnerable, letting go of the control, because I have no control over anything at all. Some of you have been following me for a while in a different version of this, of working with resonance, will know that I was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma in 2020, at the end of 2022. And I underwent immunotherapy. Yes. Knight of Pentacles also coming through in regards to health, well-being, fitness, building resilience. Yeah, there you go. In the surveillance or in the surveillance, in the scans, the imaging that was done as part of the whole melanoma journey, there was a growth discovered in my abdomen, and that was finally removed at the end of November. But following on from that surgery, I was then given the diagnosis of stage 1 ovarian cancer. So every time I've kind of gotten to a point where I think, oh yeah, I'll be able to get back to work, something else has come along that says, oh, actually, no, you can't. So I'd seen the gynecologist again, the surgeon again, about a month ago, and they were waiting for some information to come back from the hospital in Brisbane, the oncology department in Brisbane. I was expecting that everything would be just fine going into surveillance. given that I've been told that everything was contained. Everything had been removed and everything was contained. So today I've received news, just as this week I've been starting to get really excited about getting back to work, definitely with page ones. So yeah, getting excited about getting back to work this week and expecting that it was just going to be surveillance here I'm in. And today I found out otherwise. So now it's taken out of the local hospital and handed over to Brisbane. So the journey continues health-wise, but with everything that I've learned, yes, tired of waiting. Everything that I've learned throughout the last however many months it is since September, I'm tired of the stagnation. The stagnation itself is making me feel exhausted. To begin with, that time out was very helpful. It did help me revisit my perception of self, revisit my identity. If you've been keeping up with the energy outlooks, all of the activations have been listed in there. This is how it's manifested for me. So, beginning my practice again of silence and stillness, basic breath work. Also, the Four of Cups. Set some intentions, started to really recalibrate. We are in the recalibration portal. Started to recalibrate my alignment, my essence with what I do. And what I do is who I am. So it's time to get back to work, regardless of what's happening with the health. I'm tired of the interruptions. The focus for me now needs to shift not on my health as a separate aspect. Yeah, taking charge a little bit through the intention setting. I really do like that that's coming through with this Emperor. He doesn't have a great deal of control as he's walking on that. I wanted to say pentacle. Walking on the earth, walking on the wheel, walking on the universe, whatever you want to perceive this as. Yes, he's got some circus skills. He's able to keep it moving, but doesn't really have a great deal of control on the direction as it ebbs and flows with the environment, right? But no longer waiting. Readings are going to be impacted, continue to be impacted, yes. I just realised that this could have been done as a completely separate reading. That's okay. That's okay. They didn't give me that information at the beginning. Eight of Wands, it's time to move on. New horizons, new day, new intentions, new purpose, new motivations, new frequencies coming through. It's like fire, strong Aries energies coming through. That's the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in activation in Aries. Therefore, Mars is also activated. It's time for action. It's time for alignment. It is time for passion and purpose and magic and instinct and dreams and 360-degree living. Queen of Wands. So I'm hoping that kind of makes sense. It may not have. I'm sure it's just the vibrational transmission that was required. But basically, readings are starting again. They're going to be very different, though I am not aligned with zodiac reads unless the guide specifically asks for them. I'm not aligned with daily reads. That's been what do you say? A negotiation over years, the dailies. Yes, they have their place, but they're definitely not aligned with the use of tarot as it's presented to me by my guides, or as it was presented to me by my guides. Tarot is not a daily thing. The activations, the frequencies that come through, the energies that come through don't shift that quickly. They take time to unfold, to come into form. So, with the new translations, with the new frequencies coming through, with the absolute shift in polarities, the readings for now are going to be aligned with the major transits. So I wasn't expecting to start today, but we are. We just, in that way, following the flow and the guidance. So what we're going to do now, I still actually have no idea which deck we are going to be using, but I'm sure it will present itself. We're going to have a look at what's coming through for us with the Mercury-Venus conjunction. So the time stamps will be down below. You would already have known that, given that we are however many minutes into this. And we're now starting the reading. So there we go, Five of Swords. Mercury, Venus conjunction. We are starting with the Five of Swords. Yes, probably have come into this in some kind of less than happy state of being. Potentially you've been feeling friction between what you want to do, what your true essence is desiring to do, and the shoulds and shouldn'ts, the rules, the regulations. But not only that, the habits that you've formed, the behaviour patterns that you've created that are now so automated, they've previously not been anywhere near your conscious awareness, but those patterns, those behaviours, those habits are no longer supporting you or supporting your happiness, supporting your growth. For many of you, those habits, those behaviours, those patterns will have developed from coping mechanisms, defence mechanisms, survival mechanisms that have not been fully resolved or released. And so they continue. And they continue until they're brought into your awareness and you become conscious of them and conscious of that dissonance between your authenticity, your essence, your truth right now, and the way that these manifestations of thoughts, words, and actions are no longer even assisting your survival. They are so disparate, so far away from the frequency of your happiness that they're now causing detriment. coming into this conjunction, okay, Five of Swords. Yes, there has been some support for awareness coming through that has been through the Neptune activations through January, through December. You may have been experiencing residue dumps. You may have been experiencing changes, maybe just simple glimpses of different perspectives, different behaviours, different communication that has also then given glimpses of a different manifestation, a connection with the lightness of a different way of seeing things, rather than the heaviness of following the habit, continuing to manifest the same behaviour patterns, the same communication, the same reactions. There is some evidence through the Five of Swords that you have also likely been starting to shed. Again, going back into the energy outlooks, things are residues, not necessarily resolved, but you're able to see them. They're fully in your awareness, and you're able to consciously go, I'm not aligned with that. I'm not going that pathway. Queen of Cups. Yes. It does feel like this is a combination. The playing out of the Mercury-Venus conjunction is a culmination, is a new manifestation of source feminine frequencies. There's a vulnerability, there's a release, there is a shift from the feminine, the distorted feminine, which is the over or the dominance of distorted masculine frequencies. Show this opening up, this blossoming of source feminine, which is a lot more vulnerable, but at the same time assertive. There is a lot more self-love, self-compassion, self-forgiveness. There's a lot less of pushing away emotions, feelings, discounting what you feel, what you think, what you see, what you hear. Instead of minimizing, there is just a standing in truth of, no, this is my perception, this is my reality. No one else has to take that on. No one else has to have that same interpretation, but this is my reality. And it's not to be discounted. It's to be observed. It's to be journeyed through, but not discounted, not pushed away, not buried, not hidden in order to meet the expectations of externally acquired beliefs and values. This is presenting as very quiet. My experience leading into this time is it has been much more short, sharp, and in your face. Whereas we're moving through here with Mercury, Venus frequencies, it's much quieter. It's really losing that distorted masculine dominance and assertion and even aggression. And the way that that's presenting is like an internal tension that may explode over into the external through anger, irritation, frustration, coming to that point of enough is enough is enough is enough is enough. It feels as though there's this turning point of communication through tantrum throwing, through acquiescence, through minimization, through discounting the experience. All of that's been tried. All of that has been embedded into the patterns of behavior that have come from those past defense mechanisms, survival mechanisms, coping mechanisms. To now, it's the Queen of Cups is bringing us much more back into the essence and coming from a place of love, particularly love of self, unconditionally. This is how I've expressed myself in the past, and all I need to do now is stand my ground quietly. Heal yourself, yes. Or of sorts, there's some balance. There's the release of that external focus, yes. A release of the external storylines and narratives. The focus really here is coming back into self. Releasing the storylines and narratives of pain, sadness, sorrow. Releasing the storylines of I want to say victimhood, but it's not quite the frequency. So I don't know the particular word, but rowboat, no oars, bouncing around in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Feeling tossed about. By forces outside your control, but the forces have been the externally acquired. So the storylines and narratives that have said that you have to behave a certain way, that you have to speak a certain way, that if you're a mother, you need to look a certain way. You need to be carrying out actions, behaviors, making decisions that meet the concept of mother. Rather than you parent in your own way. From love. And parenting yourself as well. So there's real shifts in identity coming through here. But there is a shift in mostly presenting here in self-talk, self-love, self-compassion. There's a release of attachment coming through that Three of Wands. Instead of the waiting for the ships to come in, it's like, see ya, have a good trip, don't come back. I release you. I release you. I'm standing here with my growth, with my potential, with my essence. And I don't need to meet anyone else's expectations, aspirations, shoulds and shouldn'ts. I manifest me, my essence, my truth, my divinity in form at its highest potential. To Hermit. It's a hermit, and traditionally it's about hiding away, right? But we're talking about Venus here. We also, the combination here of Venus and Mercury is the self-exploration, the research of self, the research of the things that you're aligned with, whether that's hobbies, whether that's food, whether it's work, whether it's the way that you make the bed, even what's aligned with you rather than the things that you've been taught previously. The interesting thing coming here through the hermit is the journaling. And through the journaling comes then the ideas, the concepts that really resonate, that then are researched more deeply, but not just taking the external words, the external storylines, the external narratives, the external descriptions of things as gospel, but rather working from the inside out, working from the instinct, working from the connection, working from the words that come through you, not from you, in a journaling practice or a noting practice. It's almost like fact checking coming through. So perhaps you're like doing some journaling about past behaviors or past communication, past thoughts, past reactions, past versions of you. And you're looking at it through a different lens. You're looking at it through purely an objective observer lens. And then you're revisiting it and wanting to fact check. Did this really happen? Did it happen the way that I think that it happened? Or is the way that I think that it happened actually a storyline that I've acquired from an external source? Is this the truth of my experience, or am I regurgitating what I've been told, what I've been convinced of through the storylines and narratives of conformity? These frequencies coming through here and the information coming through, the messages coming through here are tying in so well also with the Saturn Neptune conjunction that's coming up in February, but also kind of like this through all aspects of self that is happening with Mercury, Venus, and the Sun. throughout February. So it feels like as this is coming through in this reading, that this is the activation for the clarity, for the cleansing, for the revelation, for the wisdom, the awareness, the evidence of your own experience. Oh, yeah. One of the byproducts of this process, this unfolding, this manifestation of the Mercury-Venus activations is a strong shift in the concepts of wealth, worth, value. Shifts being activated here. Now, this is just an activation presenting, not a manifestation, where these slight realignments, recalibrations that are occurring through the events that arise to bring these things into your awareness. There is a shift here from the concept. It's not really a concept. Sorry, translation in progress. It's kind of a shift of looking at wealth, finances from like almost like a looking at the past, dealing with money as a looking backwards. I don't know how else to explain that. To a shift of, so looking backwards is kind of almost always catching up, trying to play catch up, right? Peter to play Paul, only just having enough, just getting through the concepts of money. These are storylines and narratives, communication that we have with ourselves. Usually, in regards to money, it is subconscious communication. But looking at money as looking into the past or looking behind or looking backwards keeps you limited. There's no growth there because you're always trying to play catch up. The shift here is not looking from the past and not even looking into the future, but looking into right here, right now. Which kind of unlocks this flow that's been held back. I wish I had better words coming through, but this is the translation as it's coming. So ultimately, yes, the shift will be into more of a forward-looking or a higher vibrational interaction in regards to wealth, worth, value, money. And the changes, the shift, the actions, the responses that create this turning point are really tiny. They are really tiny. And again, it's presenting that's most probably going to be in the subconscious, in the background. So as you're going through this research, reevaluation, recalibration through the hermit frequencies of Venus and Mercury together. The learning, yeah, thank you. The learning aspect of Mercury. But those little shifts, those little light bulbs, the little activations of the neurons that occur through that process are what unlocks this new flow in the Four of Pentacles. How interesting. How interesting. King of Cups. Oh wow, that's a beautiful energy. Neptune is going to bring a few surprises after moving into Aries, and that's going to be. I've actually been working on the channeling for that. I got interrupted by needing to do the reading, but the King of Cups here is so light. So light. This is, I can only describe it as humble confidence. Take that as you do. It's, I guess the closest would be an assertiveness without imposing your will on yourself or anyone else. This King of Cups that's coming through here is wisdom. It's the first steps of wisdom coming through. Full knowledge of self, full acceptance of self, self-love. King of Cups is coming from the heart, coming from the soul, coming from the essence, coming from the divinity. I am the captain of my own ship. I am the captain of my own ship. So we've got some balance in here between the King and Queen of Cups. As Source Feminine leans into the vulnerability, so does Source Masculine. There is a recalibration. And Neptune is not waiting to see what everyone else is doing. Neptune is standing up and saying, this is my experience. This is my understanding from the evidence of my own experience. This is who I am, not a manifestation of me of the acquired beliefs and values, of the shoulds and shouldn'ts, of the expectations of others, of the storylines and narratives, of the old coping mechanisms, the old defense mechanisms, the old survival mechanisms, and moving away from the distortion of emotional manipulation, moving on from the immaturity of the night frequencies the level of communication witnessed between Mercury and Venus is assisting an upgrade in communication of the source masculine frequencies. Interesting. Very interesting. Patience. Yeah, patience. So there's no assertion of will here. There's no dominance. There's no submission. Both the king and the queen here, both the feminine and the masculine, are standing in their divinity. Not trying to dominate, not trying to be submissive, even. This is equal. This is synergy of the duality. Instead of being in opposition, instead of being in tension, dissonance, instead of one-upmanship, instead of ego, they're simply beingness and flow. Communication is changing. And there is a real softness coming through. There is something about the Mercury frequencies coming into this. Mercury frequencies, or the manifestation of the Mercury frequencies in terms of communication, have been shifting for a few months now, but really coming into this and from this conjunction is a softening of communication, and through the physical form, through the body. That softening of communication is bringing a real release of tension, it feels. All right. Yeah. The Empress, she is not concerned about anything. She just goes about her business. Absolutely. She goes about her business, and it's her business. It's no one else's business. It's the manifestation of her truth, her essence, her soul, her divinity. She doesn't sit and go, oh, I wonder what everyone else thinks. I wonder what everyone else thinks I should do. I have to put my needs aside. No. No, and there is some real clarity around that with the Seven of Swords. This is all the stuff from the external that's being carried. The truth here is simple. It is the duality. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's 360-degree life, right? We're not just one frequency, we're all frequencies mixed in. So, Three of Wands presenting here again. Up here, where we're saying goodbye to the external. This Three of Wands really does feel like it's turning inward now. Does that mean going into hiding? No. This is turning inward. What is my alignment? What resonates? What's my truth in this moment? What's my divinity? The physical and non-physical, the duality coming together in peace, cooperation, in flow, in synergy. Mercury presenting here as the facilitator, the healer. Beautiful. Really, really beautiful. It is a new beginning. Absolutely. What we're moving into through February is a complete recalibration of who we are, what we are, what we stand for from our own wisdom, from the evidence of our own experience, not storyline or narrative that's convinced us that the sky is purple and the grass is orange. But what we know to be true from the evidence of our own experience. Well, gone is the distortion. I don't read off the floor, but I did look down and it was the Queen of Swords. Gone is the distortion. Beautiful. That means clarity. Yes. So the Queen of Cups, the nervous system here has completely calmed. There's no emotion. There's no anxiety. There's no fear. There is nothing at all to activate the nervous system. There's simply essence and being. Beautiful. Very, very beautiful. So there you go. That's what we've got coming through for the Mercury-Venus conjunction, playing out of those activations. If you would like a personal reading on how those frequencies and activations may be unfolding for you, all the information is in the description box below. Enjoy the unfolding. Please, love you. Be kind to others. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.